art lesson.
All right, we're live, everybody. Here we go.
K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. They want to find the treasure, they want to find it now. They are K-Pro and they are cow. They're going over it and over it and over it again. This treasure hunt created by Forrest Fenn. Sing it! K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. Marion and Indy are what they're like, although their real names are Christy and Mike. Can they pin down the treasure? They just might. Tune in to find out Monday nights. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Pow Wow.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Monday night. K-Pro Cow Powwow with special guest Decal Thomas is in the house. K-Pro can't set up her green screen. K-Pro had some issues. I'm glad she's here. I didn't even think she was going to make the show because she was on her iPad. She had some Windows updates issues. Somebody told her to update her computer. I don't know who that was.
Somebody.
Yeah, somebody. All right.
Breathe in, breathe out.
You'll be all right.
Breathe out.
Oh, there you go. Look, all of a sudden you're in the tropics. You're at the
treasure chest is there.
That's the hot spring right there. You dipped your toe. All right, first question is how is the audio, everybody? Somebody said get a Mac. How does the audio sound? We went live at lunch today to fix the audio, so I'm hoping there are no issues. There shouldn't be. Even fingers crossed. Hooli says it's awesome. Okay, thumbs up for good video. Okay, so tonight we're going to show another Forrest Fenn clip from the Forrest Fenn Douglas Preston interview. And this one is about the land the treasure chest is on and who owns that treasure chest once you find it. All right, thanks,
wait. We need to do housekeeping.
Yeah. Super Chat's on, everybody. We hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you.
1,000 subscribers. Boom.
Thank you, everyone who did hit the subscribe button. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do it right now. We'll wait. Go ahead. Hit that subscribe button. But that does mean the Super Chat's on because YouTube allows us to do that when you have the good content that we do, the awesome content that we do. Actually, you guys made that happen by hitting subscribe, so thank you. But Super Chat's on. If anybody has a question, you just have to get answered. And K-Pro even says she got some advice from a lawyer or something. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about tonight. So we'll see.
Who knows?
Who knows? So, and let's see, Super Chat, and then...
Oh, there it is. Alan K. with the $4.99 Super Chat.
The chest is in Yellowstone, and Forrest doesn't care about legalities. Happy New Year's, everyone.
I don't know, Alan. We'll see what
he threw some money away for no good reason.
We'll see what you think after this clip tonight. You never know. But everybody takes it their own way, so.
Okay, so let's tee up a little bit. We are, in case you don't know, Mike and I and a group of people, including a documentarian, are coming together to try to make a documentary. Excuse me, I'm still sick, but I'm getting better. D-Pro is actually worse than I, so he is laying on the bed right now, but he's sleeping.
Yeah. Urgent care.
So I didn't hear what you said, but that's probably a good thing. So we are putting together a documentary. Most of the time you wait until after the documentary is done before you start rolling out clips, but we know some of these clips the clips that we're sharing are not going to be used. Just wait till you see the clips that we use. And so we are rolling these out. We're saying once a week, but we've been going crazy. Oh, wait, another super chat. Just a penny short in sense and smarts. Stay on the trails in national parks.
Oh, I like that. Sturmworm, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Sturmworm. And so we are rolling these out. Up until today, you will hear the question from me and then the answer from Forrest or Douglas. There was one clip that Mike and Cynthia kind of tag teamed, and you saw it from the beginning of the question till the end. This one is going to be a little bit different because I actually asked a question. He answered a question. He said he wouldn't answer the question. Then I went to a different question. Then he went back and said, well, let me answer that previous one. And then there was a third question, and then he wouldn't answer it, but then he referred back to the second question. So we thought the only appropriate way, because context is so important, is we just included the whole thing.
We just played it. Yeah, we're just going to play it. It's the longest clip we have released thus far. So
yes, but I needed to tee it up because people are confused. I'm shocked they're not watching every single minute of every single show, but people are like, well, what is this about? I get enough emails. I thought I would tee that up specifically. Then we will answer. We will then dive into, we just played it for Decal.
Yep.
And
Just
so we will
5
answer
minutes
all the
before
different.
we went live, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 5 whole minutes.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong button.
And so we're going to answer the sub questions, the sub chapters that we'll go into on this one. And then we're going to take every 6 clips and we're going to make them their own clip. And then afterwards, we're going to talk about World Series of Fenn. We are going to talk about the marathon that is coming up, and probably some other things. But we are at the 10-minute mark, and that is when we say we will play this, and we will play it at the very end as well. This one we may need to play once.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about on this one. And Davio says, roll the clip. So without further ado, Joel Lewicki's in the house. How you doing, Joel? And thank you, everybody else, for joining us as well. Are we ready to roll it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll it.
Here we go, guys. Get your pen and paper ready, because I got mine. I'm taking my notes as soon as we hear this. Here we go.
Well, so talking about when someone does find the treasure, it is there, the chest and the contents are theirs, correct? They will own that treasure.
I said in my poem, I give you title to the gold.
Okay.
But there are a lot of subchapter S's to that rule too. But I don't want to go there.
Okay. What recommendation do you give to the finder? Do you think they should be public? Do you think they should remain anonymous?
I've said several times that if you find that treasure chest, put it under your bed and leave it there for 30 days without doing anything. There's a lot that you need to think about. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of things. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. I spent $5,000 with an attorney researching what happens if it's found on private property, Indian land, government land being Bureau of Reclamation, Corps of Engineers, BLM, National Park Service, Forest Service. There's 20 of those things, and every one of them has a different rule. So it's not that easy, but it's certainly doable. And that's why I say put it under your bed and leave it for 30 days, because you need to think about every one of those things.
Now, when you have thought about that, there has been a lot of media recently of transitions of land from, let's say, BLM to a different type of land. Did you consider that when you worked, so if the treasure's on one type of land and it transitions to a different?
I don't want to go there.
Don't want to go there, okay. So the fine.
But let me make one comment. If you rent a cabin on private property in northern New Mexico, it's sitting out there by itself, you rent it. What are you renting? You're renting a place to sleep. But are you renting the backyard? Are you renting the front yard? Can you use the barbecue pit out there? And if you can use those things, then that's your property, isn't it, for 24 hours?
Okay, that's your property, isn't it, for 24 hours? So there's a couple things here. The biggest one for me, and I'll let you guys talk to what you think the biggest one, but one of the biggest ones is he actually said subchapter S's. I mean, what is a subchapter S? We're talking, he mentions title to the gold, and then he mentions subchapter S, which is a total, isn't that about IRS and taxes, a subchapter S?
Yeah, I wish I knew offhand. I've heard it before.
Oh, I'm going to look up the definition right now. What do you guys take away
But
from
why
this?
does he say he doesn't want to go there? Shouldn't it just be, yeah, you own it. You own it all.
But he
like-
did go there because he said subchapter S. I think he let something go there.
Right. So
Yeah.
he's saying that it's not that simple. Like you
Well,
own the treasure.
I
He's
think
saying in the poem, he said, you own the gold and there's subchapter S's here, but I don't want to go there. Like, so it's not as, maybe that's why you need to notify him because he owns it.
Well, I think he said, I'm not going to go there, meaning I'm not going to tell you how I set it up. But I think he meant there's a subchapter, there's some kind of legal paperwork or legal entity involved, like a subchapter S. I'm not a tax attorney, but it seems to me since he brought it up, and then he says, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to go there. But I don't think we've ever heard him use a legal term like subchapter S before. All we've heard him say is title to the gold.
It didn't seem like literal or serious about the subchapter. And if chat is saying it's an S corp, you know, of course there's differences between the S corp and the.
But that's
other
small business. That's
corporations.
not a subchapter S. An S corp is different. That's like partnership, corporation, sole proprietorship.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if anybody in chat can look that up, subchapter S.
And somebody says it's because of the bracelet. We actually have a whole clip on that of why he asked for the bracelet back. And I don't think it's that because there's going to be another clip that we'll share that will put that baby to rest. And why did he pick the bracelet? Why is it important? All of that.
William with the super chat. Thank you very much. The analogy can fit with the same concept with land grants. You don't own the land, but it's yours. And 3D Bronze with the super chat. How you doing, 3D Bronze? So if I rent a cabin and I find a barbecue grill in the backyard, I can keep it?
Yeah,
Well, that's
I
just
think so.
it. When you rent it, you don't own it. You're just renting it. We'll have to re-listen to it because I'm trying to understand the point
so
Forrest
this
is
attorney
trying
that I
to
talked
make.
to for a while yesterday, there's a huge amount of case law out there. Like, let's say you go and you rent a hotel room and you find in the bathroom, like behind one of the grates or grills or whatever, you find $1 million. It is not clear cut. He was telling me that it gets down to how much dust is on it, how long it was there, how much is it, all of that. So it is not as cut and dry. So we have S chapters to look at. Chapter S's.
Sassy just put part of it in the chat, but I'll go ahead and read the rest because I just looked up the same thing. An S corporation, also known as an S subchapter, refers to a type of corporation that meets specific Internal Revenue Code requirements. The requirements give a corporation with 100 shareholders or less the benefit of incorporation while being taxed as a partnership. And this is, I think, the important part. The corporation may pass income directly to shareholders and avoid double taxation. So is it a tax issue that it's not going to be double taxed? Maybe Forrest, as a state, pays the taxes. We don't have to. I don't know. I'm just throwing out different ideas.
I mean, I had my last time I had a corporation, my welding business was an S corp, and I can't even remember all the advantages. But there were some good advantages to being an S corp. That's why I think Forrest is not being literal or serious about that. He's just saying there are some different categories of ideas, and including corporations. You know, if you called yourself a corporation in those 30 days that the chest is under your bed, you know, maybe there's a way to justify or write off your expenses, keep more of the value of the box.
Wait, now, is an S corp the same as a subchapter S?
Well, subchapter S, I believe, is referring to all of the ideas and principles, rules governing an S corp. And C corp, isn't it a C?
But why wouldn't he just put it under the sole proprietorship? Why would it be under?
Well, sole proprietor is horrible. There's a lot of tax benefits to corporations. 10 times more benefits to corporations than there is to an individual sole proprietor.
So is he saying that the company, like the corporation, owns the trust then?
I think what he's saying is you need to think about for 30 days what you're going to do with this whole scenario, because there is different ways of structuring it. And if you structured it like a corporation, or whatever, you've got to think about this before you come out with the treasure chest publicly. And kind of, I think that's a good insight, because from a business point of view, you got a much better chance of hanging on to that box entirely. The complete value of the box, using a corporation or some other clever strategy. But it would require some patient, careful planning, that sort of thing.
Okay, so that's the first part, and then we have all of this stuff in the middle where he talks about BLM and national forests and national parks, and he names off a whole bunch of them. He says there's 20 of these things, different groups, and the attorney that I was talking to was saying they thought it didn't matter what type of land, because it's going to be under some other piece of case law or law out there, something like renting the barbecue pit. So, okay, so Mike and I head to Paradise Rate, whatever, that place.
Parade Rest, right?
Parade Rest, and there is a barbecue pit. Do we own that for the day?
If you rent it, you don't own it. I mean, right? You don't own it. You can use it. You can legally use it.
Yeah, but he's just trying to use an example here, because he can't come straight out and say, well, I actually own some property over here, or I actually have the mineral rights to this property over here, or I actually have the lumber or natural resources claim on this property, but I don't own this property at all, but I can cut down any tree I like, that sort of thing. So in that sort of property situation, there's a lot of them out there. So I like the way he's mentioning different legal scenarios. And every single jurisdiction has a lot of different regulations. I think I wouldn't touch Yellowstone with a 10-foot pole, or a 100-foot, a 200-foot pole, let's say. I wouldn't touch Yellowstone at all, because it's impossible to win in that scenario. But West Yellowstone is in Montana. There's plenty of that you're just outside of the difficult national park stuff, and still in the same area that he talks about and loves so much. Fine, you can search in New Mexico. It's the same style of jurisdictions that you got to worry about.
Well, and so here's a question that came up, and I talked to this attorney about it yesterday. Covert One says, what if there isn't a legal issue? That's what Forrest said. Now, but here's what I say to that. I just went to court for something that my attorney said, we're going to get this thrown out. This is ridiculous.
Right.
I still had to hire an attorney. I still had to pay quite a bit of money. It was absolutely thrown out. And so Forrest may have thought through everything. Do we think the finder, let's say that redneck with 12 kids maybe doesn't have the education. We're talking lawyers, vicious lawyers that are going to come out of everywhere. Forrest may think he thought of everything, but you're going to have attorneys that are going, there's 2 lawsuits right now trying to sue Forrest, let alone, and he's still going to have to hire an attorney and all that good stuff. I still think the finder, no matter how clear cut Forrest thinks it is, there's still lawyers that think differently. That's the whole reason our legal system is crap.
So maybe
because there's all these blood-sucking attorneys that just want to take money and bottle stuff up and make everyone's life hell.
So maybe one of the items in the chest he's never talked about is that he's just laid out the options. When he says wait 30 days, maybe he's not telling you what to do. He just simply has a document that lays out the options. You can do this, you can do that, you could never tell anybody, you could just pay tax off the bat. Maybe he's just tried to think ahead, because what if it is, like if I found the treasure chest, I have no idea about the laws and ownership and taxes and all that stuff. I'd be on here asking you guys for help. So maybe he's got a document that lays out the options, and you got to, think about what you want to do.
Maybe there is something more in the chest, or possibly in his biography, or maybe there's a bit of a contract or something. Maybe it's Willy Wonka's golden ticket in there, and Forrest Fenn is offering his entire collection to the finder, or maybe just a peace pipe, or maybe a significant sum of money, or maybe deed to some property.
Yeah, but he said he took it. Well, okay. So first of all, no, I was not talking about Joel. Joel is actually somebody I talk to about a lot of things, and so no, Joel, I was not talking. You're not a blood-sucking intruder. I actually have no idea. If you might be, I just don't know that. I was not talking about you in any way.
He is. He absolutely is. That jerk.
Seems like good people to me.
Is the worst. Evil, blood-sucking. Yes.
No, he is not evil. I know. He says he's guilty. We know he's
JK,
yeah.
Just kidding.
And so I do actually think it's interesting, and Sassy brought it up first about how you're able to sell it. It's going to go under antiquities and trove laws and this law and that law.
And maybe that's what Forrest laid out.
Sassy is a great example. I don't think Forrest is geared up with a bunch of attorneys to help the finder. And what has happened? She got sued, and thank goodness Random House took it on for all of them, but that one was worth a lot less.
I don't think Forrest can think of what crazy people are going to do. I think he's thought more of what the government's going to want to do, or whoever owns that land is going to try and do. I don't think he's tried to, consider what the crazy people are going to do, because they're crazy. I don't think you can anticipate what somebody's going to do. 3D Bronze with another super chat. Thank you very much. Should have asked F why he hid the bells on BLM land. Why would he hide the bells exclusively on BLM land, but hide the chest elsewhere? Just a thought.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Good point.
Well, another thing in this little clip, and we are going to play the clip again, everybody. We should probably play it in the middle and then play it again at the end because it's kind of long. But he says, when he's talking about when you rent a cabin, he mentions northern New Mexico. He says, what if I rent a cabin in northern New Mexico? Is he just messing with people? Yeah. And then in our clip that we played a week or two ago, he says, a lot of people are overlooking New Mexico. So it makes me want to look down in New Mexico a little bit more. I don't know. Why wouldn't he say in Yellowstone or in the search area, or not even give a location, but he says in northern New Mexico?
So people are up on Facebook. They're saying, do you think when he said overlooked, he didn't mean overlooked? He meant overlook, like too much looking. So it's like, when he says water, does he mean water? Or does he mean,
right?
I think he was I'm going with simplify. When he says something, Terry Scant means to get the hell out of there. I've done the inventing words and trying to use imagination and go down route. I'm going to go with literal. I think when he says New Mexico is overlooked, he means New Mexico is overlooked. When he says Terry Scant, he means get the hell out of there.
I've said a lot of times that how can you decide where to be clever about solving the poem? I think we have to try and solve the poem with the most obvious answer in every line of the poem first, and see where that takes us, and that's why I think Warm Waters Halt is on the cover of Too Far to Walk. I'm taking the low-hanging fruit, sure, but I think that's how you solve this, is with the not so clever. Clever, even the Jingle Bell Rock, we learn this every year. Clever does not get you closer to the Jingle Bell Rock. It doesn't get you to Forrest Fenn's treasure. There might be plenty of things clever about it, but about the solution of the poem. But I want to solve everything with the most obvious answer.
3D Bronze says, the more I listen to Forrest, the more he complicates the problem. Now, I understand, everybody, we're not talking about clues in the poem right now. We're talking about other things, and everybody says you're not going to find it that way. But it's just fun to talk about. We did an interview with Forrest. It's fun to talk about what he said. But I just want to take a quick 2 seconds and say hello to somebody who's in chat. He's a fellow treasure hunter. His name in the chat is, I just saw it, Valentine Goose. And that is his YouTube channel, Valentine Goose. But he is Mr. Randy Pichelle, who's put out the book, The Beacon Star. And he just emailed me and said, are you guys live? And he's made 2 videos on YouTube about the Forrest Fenn treasure. And when we're done, I will put those in the Forrest Fenn Grand Adventure group on Facebook so you can check those out. So welcome, Randy. I really like your book, The Beacon Star. I just haven't had time to sit down and really tackle the codes
And now
yet.
Here's something amazing. I don't know this person, but he was able to post up on the Forrest Fenn Reddit group on his own, like his own video, talk about his book and not get banned or deleted.
We've had some issues with Reddit.
I didn't know this. I didn't know you talked, Randy, to Mike. I actually am the one that
5 minutes
responds.
ago,
I'm K-Pro Thor, and I said, where do I get your book? And I want to hear more and all of that. I just think it's funny. We've gotten threatened of ban, and they delete us, and then they send nasty emails. And so you have cracked that code. You seem genuine. We are not. They've told us how evil we are. So I say, good for you, Randy.
I've got the Beacon Star right there. So if anybody who doesn't know, if you could just look up on Amazon if you're interested, it's called the Beacon Star. I hope you could post this in the chat, Randy, because I don't want to get this wrong. It's a gold coin. It's a treasure hunt that is somewhere in the Denver, Colorado area. It's a gold coin plus $5,000. I don't want to get it wrong, so you can post it. But that's what that, and it's a boots on the ground treasure hunt. But he's just starting.
And he's taking a swing at Forrest Fenn, and
he
does
which is
a
cool.
clip in his car, and he talks about the Forrest Fenn hunt. So from a treasure hunter creator.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Randy, it's not in a wooden box. That's a little inside joke if you watch his first video. But okay, should we show the clip again, or do you guys just want to go into something else? As far as
pay attention to the order that he says everything.
Okay, all right, here we go. Let's play it one more time, everybody.
Well, so talking about when someone does find the treasure, it is there. The chest and the contents are theirs, correct? They will own that treasure.
I said in my poem, I give you title to the gold.
Okay.
But there are a lot of subchapter S's to that rule too. But I don't want to go there.
Okay. What recommendation do you give to the finder? Do you think they should be public? Do you think they should remain anonymous?
I've said several times that if you find that treasure chest, put it under your bed and leave it there for 30 days without doing anything. There's a lot that you need to think about. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of things. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. I spent $5,000 with an attorney researching what happens if it's found on private property, Indian land, government land being Bureau of Reclamation, Corps of Engineers, BLM, National Park Service, Forest Service. There's 20 of those things, and every one of them has a different rule. So it's not that easy, but it's certainly doable. And that's why I say put it under your bed and leave it for 30 days, because you need to think about every one of those things.
Now, when you have thought about that, there has been a lot of media recently of transitions of land from, let's say, BLM to a different type of land. Did you consider that when you worked so if the treasure's on one type of land and it transitions to a different?
I don't want to go there.
Don't want to go. Okay. So the fine.
But let me make one comment. If you rent a cabin on private property in northern New Mexico, it's sitting out there by itself. You rent it. What are you renting? You're renting a place to sleep. But are you renting the backyard? Are you renting the front yard? Can you use the barbecue pit out there? And if you can use those things, then that's your property, isn't it, for 24 hours?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, the first thing is the gold part. Like, why didn't he say, I give you title to my trove? He said gold. Gold is not the only thing that's in that treasure chest. And when I asked him flat out, do you own the treasure and its contents? He didn't answer yes. He said, one, it's complicated, but two, he said, I said in my poem that you have ownership of the gold. There's
title
more than
to the
gold in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky for sure. But one thing for me personally, when he came out, maybe it was 2 years ago or a year ago, and said, simplify if you can. I thought, what's the simplest thing that makes the most sense? That he found this location when he was a kid or when he was a teenager. You know, he said, I've always known the spot. But when he was a kid or teenager, he didn't think about hiding his treasure because he didn't have it yet. He thought about hiding the treasure in around 1988 when he got cancer. And remember what he said was, I blame Ralph Lauren because Ralph Lauren told him, you can't take it with you. And that's when Forrest got the idea to hide this treasure chest. So when he says, I have always thought of the one place, he went to Santa Fe after the military in what, early 70s, right? Do you know the exact year? 74, something like that, when he got out of the military. So in the 70s, all the way to 1988, let's call it 15 years. Let's say he had 15 years. He could have found the special place then in New Mexico. I guess what I'm saying is because he said, what if I rent something in northern New Mexico? And his other clip is people are overlooking northern New Mexico. It really could be there. I was along the path, and because we went to Yellowstone and I saw the places where he grew up in the street, Canyon Street and all that. But I'm starting to lean back toward New Mexico now just because, and I also personally am starting to think that it's something that he owns. He said, what if there is no legal issues? Somehow he privately or owns it so that there is no issues because it's his property. You're not trespassing. You don't own it to anybody but him. And his poem says, I give it to you. What do you guys think?
But Toby said this. You aren't renting the property. You own it. You don't own it.
Oh, yeah, don't own it.
I rent a hotel room. I do not own that for the day.
Right. That's
I don't
true.
own it.
You can use it.
I can use it. Exactly.
But you don't own it. That's right.
So what the hell is he talking about?
You can't put money under the carpet. You can't and expect to own that money tomorrow.
No, if it's mine, I can't go in there and take anything. I mean, I don't own any of it. So when he says, when you're there, yes, you can use the barbecue pit, but if you find $1 million under that barbecue pit, no, you're not walking away from it. If you do, that's called stealing.
So
Have
what
you ever
if
tried to take something from a hotel? They're not happy.
No.
What if Forrest owns the property in some way, blind trust, land grant, all these different options people throw out. But what if the person who owns it is somehow Forrest? We don't know how, but we don't know when we get there, but that's the case. When you find the treasure chest and you open it and he says, I give you title to the gold, is that what he means by you can use that barbecue pit because I own it? In other words, I own it. You're just there temporarily. You can take it because I'm saying you can. Could that be the analogy he's making?
I'm with you there. If he owns it, if he owns, he owns that cabin up near Yellowstone, if he owns that and he says, oh, go find it on my property and I give you title, I'm down.
Wait, what'd you just say? A cabin up in Yellowstone. What was that?
If he owned a cabin up in
Yellowstone. If he owned
I mean, that gets complicated because how do you really know that the cabin belongs to Forrest Fenn? I know plenty.
You find him under the S-Corp.
We won't. I don't think we would ever know.
People have done the research to try and find properties of his, and they probably have found some properties. I think it's, if I'm not repeating myself, I can't remember. I think it has more to do with like mineral rights or logging rights. I think that's a good analogy that matches the cabin, renting a cabin. When you own mineral rights, that's sort of temporary.
Well, Toby's saying ownership ends upon death. What if it's a living trust? Like my mom had a living trust and it continues to this day. And she died 9-10 years ago. Right. So I think it depends how it's, and a corporation doesn't die. It continues. So maybe we need to find a corporation.
Some of us, and by us, I mean the searcher community, we need to actually go to a tax attorney and say, if I wanted to do this, how do you legally do this? I have $1 million I want to hide, and I want to write title to the gold on a piece of, I wonder what the options are. Or if they're going to say, there's no way you can do that. I just am wondering what a actual attorney would say.
Do you think we could hypothetically ask the same attorney that Forrest asked about all this stuff?
I've said this before, and because I don't even know if I could find the email, I got an email from a searcher years ago who said, I know the attorney that Forrest Fenn talked to, and I've talked to that attorney. Of course, I said, well, I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. And he wouldn't give me any info, but he said it was very interesting what he said, blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember who that person was. This was probably 3 years ago. But it would be interesting to find. But if you think about it,
we have attorneys, like this is such a special, I bet you, and maybe Joel's in here as another attorney, we're talking about such specialized law. There's probably only 10 or 20 of them in the whole country that specialize in this particular law.
Right.
That would be my guess. We can't just go to a tax attorney and say, do you know specifically about treasure troves and antiquities laws? We can.
Yeah. What attorney would you go to? And what did that attorney have to actually practice law in the state where he hid it in? I wonder as well. Could he go to a New Mexico attorney and talk about up in Yellowstone, the laws up in Yellowstone? I don't know.
He can.
He could, but they would have to research. Each state is different.
It would be pure speculation or how could they have that kind of specialized knowledge? You know, that attorney in New Mexico, knowing what the heck is going on in Montana. They might know something about BLM. They might know something about national parks, but I'd be surprised. Yeah.
So you kind of need the scenario to be able to really ask the right questions of the to the attorney.
Sassy says, my tax attorney said it would be a nightmare no matter what he did. So, or unless you just never tell anybody. But who can do that and not tell anybody? I mean, you actually find it and you're not going to tell anybody that you found it?
Well, the whole reason we're really talking about this, in my opinion, is not because we think we're going to have it in our hands tomorrow. It's helping us figure out what type of land it's on to then be able to figure out where it is.
Right.
So so if we know we can rule out everything but private property, let's just say, that would narrow our, I mean, how many searchers, search saws would blow up right there. So
yeah, I think on private property or passing through private property, that's ridiculous. That seems really against the Forrest Fenn message.
But the Forrest Fenn message is, it's not what if there is no legal issue? And the only way I think he can say that is if he owns it. That's the only way he can say for sure, if he owns it. Otherwise, you're talking too much. Laws can change, land can change, possibilities can change.
And when you brought that up, what if the ownership of the land changes? He just said, I'm not going to go there. And you, being the bully, just wouldn't let it go. You asked him like 5 or 6 times, and he finally said, enough. Oh, no, you didn't do that. You just went right on to the next question. But he basically said, I'm not going to go there. And
well, here in Nevada, I mean, Mike, maybe you know something about this, but it seems like batches of BLM land. We have more BLM land than any other state. And they have batches of it that come up for auction or for sale or for conversion to county land or city land. And there's backroom deals converting this land into other entity land. Mm-hmm. And why did I bring that up? Because, of course, the land that the treasurer is on is very likely that it's something like BLM. That's the most compatible sort of low-hanging fruit type land that he could put it on without the least number of problems, but it could get converted into some other private property relatively easy, but most of that is politics. I mean, you'd have to have some pretty good confidence about the area that it's not going to convert back to commercial land.
I would say either he owns it or he knows it's protected and the ownership will not change for the next hundreds of years, thousands of years. And what land is protected and will never change?
None, because of eminent domain, and I'm stealing this from William. Even eminent domain, I can own a piece of land, and the government can now say, because they want to put something there, they can take my land from me. Forrest cannot say for certain there is no legal issues, because even people's land gets taken from them.
I know, but what if there's still 100-year logging contract? Okay, or what if
government comes in and says, broken, I'm taking this from you because there's some frog on here that's endangered.
Yellowstone National Park is never going to be touched. So what if it is a national park?
There is national park that is transit. Okay, I have to give credit, and I don't remember all the detail. Mike Davis up on Harry's posted there was some land in Colorado that moved from, and I want to say it was BLM over to national park or national forest land. It was like 5,000 acres transitioned from one type of land to another. And he's the one that posted it and said, what if Forrest Treasure was on something like this and it got transitioned and all the laws then change on whether you own it or don't own it and all of that? And that's what had that question come up.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying, because there's every year in Nevada, there's batches of BLM that convert to county or city or possibly even national parks here in Nevada, because we have a lot of it. And I think most of it is little political favors, actually, going on. So the easiest way for them to transfer real money to, it sounds kind of corrupt, but this kind of politics are going on everywhere.
Oh, the only thing worse than a lawyer is a politician. Absolutely.
Yeah, so why don't and they have power and control over this BLM land. And so they push it towards this county or city or whoever, is making the deal, and they get it, and people get their hands on it.
Yeah, and Sassy says if a partnership owned it, it would be hard to find FF's connection, and that fits the whole S corp piece. You have it.
So the whole, when he says subchapter S's, he's just talking about taxes, right? Or is he talking about ownership?
No,
I don't know.
A great question.
Because he said title to the gold, subchapter S's.
He did say subchapter S, but I don't think he's literally talking about the S corp.
And he might not.
Because any book can have a subchapter S. Any legal document can have a subchapter S. Anything can have a subchapter S. A fiction novel can have subchapter S. It would be ridiculous, but he's just saying that there are some law complications that could be the fine print, the hard to deal with.
So go ahead.
I don't think he was talking about taxes when he was talking about the things he was talking about. I believe he was talking about legal ownership.
Yeah.
And you just got your hands on it, and Pandora's box is opening, and oh my gosh, it's going to get complicated quick.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, any legal complication, not just corporation type complications, but any. I want to go back to, he said there's a lot to think about. And then he went into I don't know if he said 30 days under your bed. I think first he said there's a lot to think about. And then I think he said 30 days under the bed, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. I used to think that he wanted us to think about it long and hard, because maybe he makes some offer to the finder, like, okay, I want you to return it back to me for negotiation. And, or maybe he's politely saying, I'd like to have the bracelet back. I'll make it worth your while, maybe he's being casual. Maybe he's being very serious when there's something in the chest, making that sort of pledge or offer. And maybe it's even something as crazy as Willy Wonka, where he's looking for his protege to, inherit the whole family business. Who knows?
Well, we got into the bracelet, and we got into, would he want the finder to come talk to him, and why the bracelet and all that. We need to play that clip, because that was interesting. There is a whole reason and discussion and negotiation. There's a whole there, which I found intriguing. I just hadn't heard it at that level of detail. Did you hear about when we talked about the bracelet and why the bracelet?
Yeah.
That was new information to me.
He said, well, I won't say what he said. But Denise Begley has a point. She said, there are people that live in Yellowstone National Park. They don't own the land, but they live there. Wouldn't that fit what Forrest is talking about?
And don't they
have but if they bring their stuff in, they can take their stuff out. But when they come in, it's kind of like the president. When you walk into the White House, and we won't get into political jokes, you're not supposed to take anything on your way out. Anyway, okay.
What I was going to say is some of those people in Alaska, they have like 100-year permit for their cabin. And at the end of 100 years, that cabin's got to be torn down and they got to be out of there. Okay, but you've got a pretty good idea that nothing's going to happen for the next 100 years, or whenever that 100-year contract is up. And I'm pretty sure that the Yellowstone people are very similar. They have a certain date that them or their posterity have to be out of there, and any dwellings or whatever.
Greg Keller says, has anybody wished Hooli a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Hooli.
What? Happy birthday, Hooli. I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I think I should have, because I think we were talking about it yesterday in Davio's chat. So, yeah, see, this gets into, people are asking about irrevocable trusts. I know living trusts, and I know, but here's the thing. I think he would have to tell someone. I know he's not a lawyer. Like when this crackpot out there, Hansen, right now, it goes to his lawyer. He's not going to get into the nuances of all the laws. That's what he has attorneys for.
Well, Golden Frog says the land is meaningless. Only the treasure chest matters to the IRS. But if I find the treasure chest, can't whoever owns the land try and do a claim and say, that's mine?
And they want their cut, especially if it's the government.
Yeah.
Well, not cut. Can't the government say, you can't take that. That's ours. We're going to take that. And the contents of the chest.
And I don't think so. I was having a debate with somebody on my messenger. They're like, no, the way that he's going to know is they put it to Yellowstone, and it's in Yellowstone, and then you have to legally give it to them for 30 days, and then they'll eventually. I do not think Forrest,
because it's like lost property. You have to turn it in, and then you get it back.
Forrest does not want some terrible, awful government official. You know he doesn't like the government. He likes the government as much as I like lawyers. No way. He's going to be like, yeah, let's hand it over for 30 days. Let's see if we get it back. No.
Greg Keller thumbs the video up. Thank you.
Do you think Forrest would, if I or anybody drove to his house with the treasure chest and said, here, I really can't deal with this much gold in my house. Can you, do you want it? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to,
he has my information, and he's just he'll say, send it to K-Pro.
Send it to K-Pro. It's fine. Just drive it over there.
That would actually be really interesting. I think whoever's going to find it, whoever finds it, they're gonna want it. Are you gonna do that, D-Call?
I don't want it. I want him to put it in the Smithsonian. I want him to write me a check. And that's just done,
All right. Fair. Mike Nodine is in chat. How you doing, Mike?
I think he knows people that would buy it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Simplify.
Yeah, simplify. I'm leaning more towards New Mexico.
If somebody knew you had that much gold in your house, you're putting your whole family at risk. I mean, that's some crazy junk right there.
DeBear, I believe, and I asked this up on Thor a long time ago. So let's say the treasure chest in piecemeal is worth $3 million.
Yeah.
What if the one thing that nobody has thought about and doesn't know is return this bad boy to me and I'll give you a $10 million check? It's under the gift tax and all of that. Every single person said they'd take it except for one crazy person, and we know they're crazy. They would absolutely who would not take a $10 million check and hand that chest back to Forrest?
Yeah. Is that covered under the gift tax?
It'd be under the, what is it, 11.2, 11.4, whatever, 11 right now?
I don't know.
And he'd give it to you in pennies.
Well,
I don't care.
Denise Bagley says you only have to tell Yellowstone Park if you don't know who it belongs to. We all know who it belongs to, so it's not lost property.
No.
I don't know about that.
If you have something lost in
but
Yellowstone,
it's not lost.
I looked into this.
Her point is it's not lost.
If you find something,
right, that's the
you are required. You don't
turn it in.
Think about it. I find a wallet that doesn't have anything in it but several $1,000s in cash. I don't know who it belongs to. I don't have to turn it in. Come on. No, I mean, people would get around. No.
But what if there's a note with the wallet that says, "Here, this is me. Here's my address," and you can keep it. If you find it, you can keep it. You still have to turn it in to Yellowstone. I mean, it's lost property, trove. It's not lost. He knows where it is. He can go get it anytime he wants.
If you took it back to Forrest Fenn, are some of these legal issues just vanished because it started from him?
I think so.
And now it's back in his hands.
But
the only thing he's got to worry about is him being accused of never hiding it. But if hopefully the finder is smart enough to take some pictures of where it was hidden,
Mike, no, the chest belongs to you when you find it. It depends. It depends on what land you find it on, where you find it. No, legally, I do not believe you are correct.
Well, I think that's why Forrest said, I give you title to the gold. I think Forrest is saying you do own it. Now, there might be a legal way to go about doing that. Maybe that's what you have to think on for the 30 days. I don't, but somebody said Forrest was in the military for 20 years. He likes the government. Nah, I don't think he does. Forrest has said, I'm a maverick. So I've heard a lot of people say Forrest is going to hide it in his spot. He doesn't care who owns the land. He doesn't care about that. He's going to go do it anyway.
When FBI showed up at his door and said, we're raiding your home, he said, come on in, guys. You guys are my BFFs. He does not like the government, in my opinion.
I'm sure if you work for the government or military or whatever, then you understand a lot about the government that you're not going to like or appreciate. I've read about the psychology of being in the military, and you'll do a lot of bad things in the name of following orders, just doing your job, that sort of thing. Corporations have those same, you'll turn off all your moral signals just because you're doing what the boss says or doing what your orders are, it gets kind of weird, those things.
Well, do we want to take some phone calls, you two? What do you think? Phone calls? What? Live phone calls?
Live phone calls. Mike,
Yeah,
like,
I know. I could. Yeah, guys, be civil. No name calling. Nothing crazy. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play the clip one last time, and then I will turn the hotline on. I will also give the phone number, and anybody who wants to call in to talk about this specific clip.
This clip.
Yeah, this clip. We don't want to go off into crazy time. And Randy, I want you on the show. We can talk about Forrest Fenn, and we can talk about the Beacon Star together. So come on the show sometime. All right, here's the clip one more time, and let's see if I can get it.
Boy,
Here.
and then if you want to call in.
Yeah, and then while the clip's on, I'll put the phone number out there, and then you guys can call in.
Oh my.
All right, let me see what I did here with the clip.
Well, so talking about when someone does find the treasure, it is there. The chest and the contents are theirs, correct? They will own that treasure.
I said in my poem, I give you title to the gold.
Okay.
But there are a lot of subchapter S's to that rule too. But I don't want to go there.
Okay. What recommendation do you give to the finder? Do you think they should be public? Do you think they should remain anonymous?
I've said several times that if you find that treasure chest, put it under your bed and leave it there for 30 days without doing anything. There's a lot that you need to think about. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of things. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. I spent $5,000 with an attorney researching what happens if it's found on private property, Indian land, government land being Bureau of Reclamation, Corps of Engineers, BLM, National Park Service, Forest Service. There's 20 of those things, and every one of them has a different rule. So it's not that easy, but it's certainly doable. And that's why I say put it under your bed and leave it for 30 days, because you need to think about every one of those things.
Now, when you have thought about that, there has been a lot of media recently of transitions of land from, let's say, BLM to a different type of land. Did you consider that when you worked so if the treasure's on one type of land and it transitions to a different?
I don't want to go there.
Don't want to go there. Okay. So the fine.
But let me make one comment. If you rent a cabin on private property in northern New Mexico, it's sitting out there by itself. You rent it. What are you renting? You're renting a place to sleep. But are you renting the backyard? Are you renting the front yard? Can you use the barbecue pit out there? And if you can use those things, then that's your property, isn't it, for 24 hours?
So is Forrest trying to say that he's using something where he hid the treasure chest? He's using something? Hey, there's a phone call already. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
K-Pro Cow Decal.
Hey, I'm going to wait until it's Toby.
Oh, hey, Toby.
I'm going to wait till
Hi,
the clip
Toby.
is over so we can talk.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
All right, you tell me when.
Yeah, no, go ahead. It's the
'Cause
delay.
I
Sorry.
have
Yeah,
my
it's
audio
over.
off.
It's over. Go ahead. You're good.
All right, so it's Toby, guys, and I'm going to express my opinion on the matter because I just did a video about how it's my opinion and it's your opinion, so I'm going to express my opinion on the matter, and
Okay.
I'm not going to call you wrong, and I'm going to ask that you don't call me wrong because it's just my opinion. So, number one, the most important thing that was said in that clip that you just showed is he repeated the phrase that's the last line in the poem, I give you title to the gold. I could take that to court and claim ownership of the gold. And as I've done with my attorney, I would arrange with the IRS, I would arrange with my attorney to negotiate with the IRS to pay the taxes on either one of two things. The assessed value of the treasure, if I decided I wanted to keep it, or the cash value of the treasure if I wanted to monetize it. And I would use the book and the poem as the basis of ownership. And the IRS, as long as I was willing to pay the taxes, wouldn't give a damn where it was found, as long as I didn't have to kill somebody for it.
So you're saying is,
Okay.
And I think
appreciate that.
everything after that in the clip that you showed is effectively Fenn tossing up a smokescreen to avoid answering any of the questions that could have meaning. He cannot tell you what kind of land it's on, because the minute he would tell you what kind, and I'll give you some examples. Imagine for a moment that he decided he was going to put it on private property. And what would happen at that point is the 350,000 treasure hunters in the world would start looking on anyone's private property.
right.
He can't tell you if it's on BLM land. He can't tell you if it's on National Forest land. He can't tell you if it's on National Park Service land, because at that point, he's reduced the size of the treasure hunt from 4 Western states, from 4 Rocky Mountain states, to a very specific set of numbers that are significantly less than any place it could be in those 4 states.
So,
that's my opinion.
Now, I like everything you said is very reasonable, but the only thing I think to add to that is also why I don't think he says buried. And I also think he doesn't say public or private, because he doesn't want all the liabilities that could come with buried or private land or any of that. So I agree and extend. And I don't know if I'm right either, but everything you said is reasonable. So I don't think you're wrong.
I agree. I don't think it's buried, because that would create an additional set of problems, because ultimately the government owns mineral rights, and mineral rights start below the ground, below the top of the ground. I just had a discussion about air rights, but yeah, he has said in the past, and I don't have Terry Scant in front of me, that he wanted to make it as simple as possible for the finder to own the treasure. Mm-hmm. Are there going to be issues associated with owning that much? In the same way that you win the lottery, if you win the lottery and you don't call an attorney before you do anything, then you're crazy. If you find this treasure and you don't call an attorney, especially one that specializes in tax law in your state and federal tax law, if you don't call that attorney before you announce finding it, you're crazy. You're just asking for trouble.
People in the chat are asking, what kind of tax would you have to pay, in your opinion, Toby? Is it a gift tax? Is this a gift, or is it like a contest?
No, you would have to pay unearned income taxes. It would be the same kind of tax if you won the lottery, or if you won if you won the World Series of Fenn, the World Series of Poker.
No, you had it right. The World Series of Fenn.
It's unearned income.
Now,
but if you agreed, your attorney could negotiate that. Your attorney could say, all right, can you hold it until my client auctions this off, and we'll give you a fair percentage of the auction price. What you don't want to be is in a situation where because the IRS can pick the person that assesses the value. So what you don't want to be is in a situation where the IRS assesses the value of the treasure chest, and then you pay taxes on that, because A, their assessment is going to be significantly higher than you estimated, and B, you're going to have to come up with cash. But if you send an attorney in there and you say, my client is willing to negotiate payment of taxes upon liquidation or monetization of the taxes, they're going to take that. All they care about is getting their fair share.
They just want their money.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Interesting take on it. Title to the gold.
Wow.
That's it. And then everything after that is Fenn. You can tell by his body language, the words he uses, how he expresses. Everything after that is a smokescreen to avoid answering the question.
So what do you think?
But at the end, what do you think about when he said, because it's counterintuitive, because I don't see what he's saying is accurate. When he says, do you own that barbecue pit? No, you don't own that barbecue pit. You own the right to use it, but absolutely not. So what do you think about that whole rental thing at the end?
It's smokescreen, and he knows if he were to say that to an attorney would spank him.
Nice. Okay. Well, thank you for our first official caller in for our show. We did a test earlier, but Toby's search dad is the first one to call in. Thank you for calling in, Toby.
Yeah, thanks,
good.
Toby.
I'm glad it worked for you guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay,
thanks.
bye-bye.
So the way I've got this set up, guys, is when we're on the call with somebody, other people are calling, but we don't hear it because I didn't want to be interrupted. So we actually got a voicemail somebody left. Oh, we got another call. Here we go. K-Pro Cow and Decal.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so this is Covert One.
Oh, Covert One, how are you? Been a while since we talked.
I'm doing well. I'm gonna let the audio catch up here, so give me a moment.
Gotcha.
So first thing I want to say is, guys, you are doing a wonderful job out there bringing some good, interesting content to us. So thank you again for that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess a couple of comments in regards to this latest video and snippets there. I do think that there are a lot of folks that are missing some of his perhaps metaphorical points in what he brings out. Even the rented cabin analogy, I think there's much more to that than really meets the eye, and that's well below. I don't think people are seeing his key point with that.
Okay, so can you enlighten us with what you think, or would it give away too much?
Enlighten you? I'm not sure that I can enlighten anyone, but I do think that there's much more to what he says about these things than we give him credit for. It's beyond the face value of what he's saying, much more beyond that.
But is he trying to tell us something? And in the answer, is he trying to tell us? He's trying to convey something. He's trying to tell us something without saying it.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
You know, and I don't know that I fully agree with the smoke screen comment. I think there are times where that is occurring, but I do believe his analogy on renting this cabin is very important. It is very important, and there's so much more to that than really meets the eye.
Do you think that Forrest somehow owns the land, or is, I guess you could say, renting the land? What if Forrest has a 100-year lease on whatever the land is? He doesn't own it, but he's leasing it from some entity where the treasure chest is.
No, I personally don't think Forrest owns the land. I don't think so at all. Okay. I don't think it's on private property. There are too many obvious legal problems with that on private property. And so my personal view is it is not on private property at all, and there is no deed per se that's associated with the actual treasure itself.
Okay.
Well, what do you think of the notion, because here's something I've done, especially the last few years, and especially when I first met Forrest for the first few times. I analyzed everything at every degree, and to some silly, to the nth degree. I'm trying to take him a little bit more literal after the Terry scan, after this many years. That's where I take what he's saying and I'm trying to be more literal. But then, like what you're saying, it kind of flies in the face of, you got to kind of pick one pony, one way or the other. If you decide to try to look more into it, you can go down some darn rabbit holes. So how do you figure out which way to go?
So that's the funny part about this is you can't take everything literal, and there are times where you have to take things literal, right? So you got to figure out when to take it literal and when not to. Obviously he said many times there's a riddle in his point, right? So you have to know when to figure it out through a riddle and when to take things literally. And that's the swing between logic and imagination, and you have to use both when you interpret. That's my opinion.
Hey, Covert, do you think there's anything else in the chest, like an offer or like or not conditions, but just like Forrest Fenn stating that he wants the bracelet back, or that he would like to see it in the Smithsonian? Or do you think he is offering any other cash or anything to negotiate with the finder? Do you think there's anything like that?
In the chest itself, no. I don't think that he would do that personally. So this is a very unique situation where he's put something out there, announced it to the world, and said, if you wanted to go get it, go get it. putting stipulations or restrictions on what you do with that after you get it as part of the finding, yeah, that might be a little bit difficult there. So personally,
yeah, he said he hasn't done that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't personally think he's done that. No.
So do you think the line in the poem is a stipulation? If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. When he
say that again? I'm sorry.
The line in the poem that says, "If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold." Is that a stipulation? Meaning you've got to follow the 9 clues. You've got to be brave and in the wood in order to get the title to the gold.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. What he's telling you is you're not going to get there unless you're brave and in the wood, right? So,
Right.
But what if Mike goes out and he's brave and in the wood and then brings it to me like he should? I can own it, right? Even though I haven't gone out in the wood?
Oh, crap.
I mean, if you're not brave and in the wood, you're not going to own it. You're not going to find it, basically.
Okay, now the most important question, are you going to be at the World Series of Fenn this year?
I've talked to my significant other on that, and we're just probably not gonna make it this year. We have some plans around spring break. We're doing a vacation that's pretty significant, and flying out there mid-February and just a few weeks later going out on vacation is probably not going to work for us this time. We'd love to go. I mean, we'd love to go out there, but it's just not going to work this year.
Okay. Well, we will miss you, but we will think of you, and I know there will be some videos. Some of them will be public, some of them will not be public.
Yeah, and I look forward to that. Please keep me posted on what happens out there. Really would like to make it, but just not going to work out.
All right,
Okay.
will do.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Thanks,
Bye,
Covert.
All right, guys.
All right.
And Covert has been to several of the meetups, and he has some really interesting different thoughts. So some of you were like, "Wow, you guys are talking like you know each other."
Yeah,
come
met
to
him a
meetup.
couple times.
It's fun.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Spent 2 days with him.
K-Pro Cow and Decal.
Hey, what's going on out there, Mike and Chris and Decal?
Hey, who's this?
This is GCG, Greg Colvin Garcia from Ann Arbor, Detroit.
Oh,
area.
hey, we remember
Nice.
you.
Another person from our meetups.
We met him in
Hi.
downtown Detroit with about 1 million other people down there. Hey, how are you?
I'm great. I'm watching your show. I'm having a great time watching it here this evening. I love the videos.
Good. And what'd you think of Chaseopoly? I know you bought one when we saw you.
Yeah, so I haven't played with the family yet. I'm ashamed to admit it, but we haven't played it yet.
Okay. All right.
But we will.
Good.
We're a gaming family. We just got back from Japan and did Christmas, and yeah, it's been crazy.
The treasure chest isn't in Japan. You know that, right?
Yeah, and I was trying to hook up with Michael out there. I was trying to get him to reveal some of his secrets, being that he's a genius and all.
Right.
Ooh, nice.
All right. He's in the chat if you got something to say to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't you text me back, Michael?
Uh-oh.
Oh, jeez.
You're too close, probably.
So did you get something from tonight's clip that maybe confirms or maybe doesn't confirm your location, or does it take you any closer to the chest?
No. I just wanted to be provocative tonight. I made some comments on other videos. When you put out the whole video with 6 in a row, I put out a comment on there saying that, there's only one piece of gold that needs an official title, and that's the St. Gaudens 1933 double gold eagle. And it was auctioned off in 2002, and it went to an undisclosed buyer. And Forrest has always said he's always considered himself to be the best collector of things in the world. And wouldn't it be interesting? Because there's no way that you could have that St. Gaudens coin, and there's only one way to liquidate that coin. It would be national news. There's only one of them that has legal title. So, I don't know. I just thought it was provocative. That's all, because he said he found a better way to make sure that people would know that his treasure chest had been found.
So one of
Yeah,
a
I like
kind
that
item.
way.
Yeah. And Michael says he was in Australia while you were there.
But he said he did message you back, but he was in Australia. So now you know that just.
And Michael, the treasure chest is not in Australia. We help people. We're here to help people on the K-Pro Cow Show.
How can you say that for sure? You're not Forrest Fenn.
Yeah, right. Down under, World War, never mind. Okay. Well, okay. No, that's interesting. So you think it's a one-of-a-kind item that there's no way to contain that? You know, everybody would know. Is that the theory?
Yeah, the theory is that there's something in there that he's put in there. There was a strange, when he did the photograph of the chest, if you zoom in on it closely, there's some kind of steel plate. Not steel, but metallic plate on, I think it's the right-hand side in the picture, which you're looking at it. I don't know what that is, but I'm just really trying to be provocative, and it just sounds exciting. That what if he put that in there? Because there's only one in the world that was legal. It was the one that was negotiated with a collector. He was like the king of, I can't think of his name right now, but anyways, he had negotiated a deal of these certain number of St. Gaudens double eagles that were stolen from them. He had bought one of them, and they had negotiated it in court. And anyway, there's a lot of mystery around it. And remember, Forrest said that it's part of the story.
Right, and that story is significant.
I can't think of anything that has more of a story associated with it than that particular gold piece. Really. So.
Could be.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it could be. Could be. Yeah. I mean, you can't. And now somebody in the chat, 500 Pieces, says that Forrest came out and said it's not that coin. I've never heard Forrest say that.
Did?
Have you guys?
Has anybody?
I've never heard that one. So 500 Pieces, if you could post or email one of us to say where you got that from, because I've never heard that.
I think they might be right about that. That didn't they ask him if seems like there
something
is
like that. Okay.
It seems like there is, and it wasn't. It was in the last 2 years, I think, sort of recently.
So that means other people have had the same idea, but it's interesting if you did answer.
I remember talking to Sean about that, like that he kind of ruled that one coin out or that concept out.
Okay.
I don't remember how he did that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But what I was saying is there is that metallic plate that was in there in the picture, and it'd be interesting if there was something on that metallic plate which granted titles somehow specially, something special. Because remember, he wanted to have something in there, in the $100,000 IOU or whatever. He knew that wouldn't hold up to time, so he wanted something that would hold up to time. So, anyways, guys,
stand the test of time.
And I really am looking forward to seeing your documentary, and you guys are just awesome.
Hey, thanks. We appreciate that.
It was great meeting you.
It was nice meeting you finally.
Yeah. Hey, to call real quick though, did you ever read that Word document I sent you?
I'm sure I did. I mean, if you sent it to me, I read it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You'll have to connect on which one.
I mean, it was a lengthy lot of ideas there, and I did appreciate all those ideas. I mean,
if there was a salamander in it, I know he read it.
Yeah, that's the problem with everybody's ideas and solves is I'm stuck on mine. I got no reason. I'd rather quit than worry about everybody else's solve. I just want to be proven wrong or proven right and get back to welding or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something else.
Oh, that's not as fun, and I don't know how to weld, so that wouldn't be as fun. Thanks for calling in, Greg.
All right, thanks, man. Chris. You guys have a great night.
All right, good talking to you.
And he says, have to say again, this is the most important video to every searcher, and it's done greatly. Good job. Heath is the one that I will just say maybe wasn't as much of a fan before today. I've invited him in after some maybe not so complimentary comments. I say, come on in and at least share the room with 350 of our closest friends. And so I'm glad I don't know if that's stripping in sarcasm or not, but welcome, Heath, and him and I have been messengering and things. You never know where friendships can start. It started when I answered him back and said, really? And I said some not nice things back. And then now a friendship is.
Here's a voicemail we got while we were on the phone. Let's take a listen.
Oh, boy. You can always turn it down quick.
Yeah, Mike and Christy and everyone. There's all kinds of natural law and stuff that's in the Constitution. It's a recovery, not a fine. Talk to you later. Bye.
Oh, so a recovery. Yeah, okay, so maybe by fine he means no tax. You know what I mean? It's a recovery operation. We're retrieving something for Forrest. I mean, maybe that's where he's going with that.
Maybe.
I don't know. All right,
Yeah,
here's
but
another.
if you earn money from Forrest for retrieving it, then you've got to pay taxes on that. Or who is paying you for that recovery effort?
Mike, put up the number again.
Yeah,
we're going to have to do a little scroll.
Yeah, we will. I'll have the scroll for the marathon.
I don't know if the government could say, here's an interesting one. So Forrest's family has searched. And when they have searched, they're his heirs. So let's say we know that Kelly has searched up in Yellowstone. What if Kelly found it and she's the heir? Does she have to pay any tax? Like, does that change anything? Like, what if Peggy goes out and Peggy tries to find it and finds it?
Peggy's already half or full owner of it, so
right. Like that's what I'm like. That would be like Shiloh. He goes out and he finds it. We have a
Brad
super chat.
Jones. Thank you very much. Read it, Kate.
I would go to Santa Fe, talk to Forrest Fenn, let him know I have the chest by giving him his bracelet, then ask him for his attorney's name, then should reveal the correct procedure to deal with ownership.
Oh, that's actually smart. Yeah, they'd say, hey, Forrest, what attorney did you consult? That's the attorney I want to use. That makes a lot of sense. Good one, Brad, and thank you very much for the super chat.
Agree.
Yes, thank you for the super chat. And you know what? This is exactly what I mean by simplify. There it is.
Yeah.
We don't need boxes and this and that. Just there you go. Brad broke it down. And actually, you would be talking with him for a little while because we have a clip on what he wants to talk to you about.
Wow.
Go ahead.
K-Pro Decal and Cowlazars. Hello.
Hey, it's Tony from Chicago. How you guys doing?
Hey, Tony.
Good.
Nice talking to you.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, so I got a question. It's not so much about tonight's episode, but last week's episode. Remember, Christy, when you wanted to know what Cynthia thought of Doug Preston's the one clue or one thing that was said there that wasn't said before?
Yep.
And Cynthia said it looks staged to me between the two of them, between Doug and Forrest. What do you guys think? Do you guys also think that little episode was staged between Forrest and Doug Preston?
Let me tee up what he's talking about for those of you that weren't over in AGK yesterday, last week, whenever it was. So I wasn't in there. I had to go back and watch it. But we keep asking, which is the one quote that we think Douglas was referring to? And this has actually come with Toby before. Because Toby said after we went to Toby's the day after all of this, you guys were all there when actually it was Cynthia's and we went to Toby's as well. Douglas is known to be one of those that's like, there's a hint in there, and then Forrest rolls his eyes. And so the one thing that I will say, and it gives some context to this, we had a mix-up on which Monday we were coming into town, or which day we were coming into town. And Forrest had just had lunch with Douglas the day before, and he had messaged me and said, we'll see you tomorrow. And I said, no, I'll see you a week from tomorrow. And he went, oh, I just had lunch with Douglas. I swear it was this Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it was. And I said, no, it's not. I have plane tickets. I know this one. And Mike's flying in. Everybody's flying in. I know. And he's like, okay, not a big deal. And like we rescheduled really quick. But I did think it was interesting because all of us talked and said, so he had lunch. The day before, we were all going to be doing this interview. I am sure they had some discussions of what's on limits, what's off limits, all of that. Do I think, Toby brought it up before, I think it started with Toby, of That's Douglas. Douglas is going to say, he's like the grandiose. He's the marketeer. He's going to say, I heard something I've never heard before. I could totally see that. I don't believe Cynthia initially thought that because we were dying over some of it, just having a good time. Not like we're going to find the treasure chest now, but just, oh, this was good. And oh, that was good. I haven't heard that before.
Right.
Which was really fun. So Tony, I will say, I don't think it's unheard of on what they've said. I don't think Cynthia initially thought that. I don't think I initially thought like the 200 footer, I'm going to find that person. Now I think, he got me. So maybe over time, that's what she thought. But I think she was pretty excited about a couple of the quotes. So.
I personally don't think it was staged because in the interview, I thought Forrest said a couple things that I've never heard him say anywhere before. And a lot of people thought that Douglas then proceeded to tell us what it was, and we just haven't shown that. And that's not the case. Douglas did not tell anybody what he thought it was, but he said right there in that chair, I heard Forrest say something I've never heard him say before, and I think that's a true statement. And personally, I don't have any inside info. I just believe that what he said is true.
Okay. Well, and I think Douglas could think it. I don't know. I think Douglas tends to say stuff that gets Forrest in a little bit of trouble. Look at there's hints in Once Upon a While and all of that. So I think it could be. I think it could be. I mean, it's a total wild guess, but I do think it's maybe now like logic is prevailing, and because it was so much fun to get some of the quotes, and I think some of them were probably there to make us go. I mean, I definitely could see it because I'm a sucker for like, oh my gosh, did we get something kind of thing. So
I mean, I don't think Forrest has ever mentioned sub-chapter S's before. Could that be what Douglas meant? Like I've never heard him say that before. Possibly. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's still a few more
that we haven't played yet. Yeah, but we
haven't played yet.
We will. Stay tuned. More's coming.
Well, she said she was the one that said.
That's the reason why I wanted to call. I just wanted to get you guys' opinion, and have a good night.
Hey, thanks, Tony.
Thanks for calling in. Bye,
all right.
Tony. See you. Bye.
Okay. 3 missed calls. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Blue Fox asked something about Toby, and then Toby's like, I'm here. Do you know why Toby taped over last Friday's Fandango with Cynthia on the show? Seems like, let's ask Toby. Toby, you can answer that. I have no idea. That was when I was so sick. I think I got in late and didn't. I'm sick when I can't make it through the entire show of every single show this week. So,
and K-Pro, Decal, you let me know how late you want to go tonight, because I know or at least K-Pro, I know the time difference.
I'm flexible, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm okay. It's just let me know if you want to get off, K-Pro.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right, I'll put the number up. I like the phone calls. It's good to talk to everybody that watches. It's pretty cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, maybe he cut it off because of the little bit of cursing. Don't mess with Toby. Don't mess with my search dad. He'll get you. So if you guys weren't on at the end of the last show, you won't know what I mean.
But, he cut that out? Because I didn't see it. He cut that
out? He says no, he didn't tape over it.
Oh.
So there you have it. So we have now... Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. D-Call K-Pro Cow, how you doing?
It's Sassy.
Oh, hey, Sassy, how are
you? Hey, Sassy.
Hi. I have to tell you the one thing that I'm most intrigued about that video clip has more to do with body language and the expression in Forrest's eyes. When he says... the part about I give you title to the gold. He's waiting. He's got a look in his eye like, are you guys getting this? Are you picking up on it?
I'll have to rewatch it. Okay.
To me, I think he's trying to say to us, yeah, you get title to the gold, but the rest of the shit that's in there is complicated, and I can help you out with it, but
Oh, interesting. I never made that connection before. He gives you title to the gold, but the other artifacts or pieces, there's something else going on. Is that what you're trying to say? There's some kind of legal thing happening with the other stuff. Okay,
right.
That's interesting.
When you guys were talking about the corporation, the partnership, whether it's a limited partnership or whatever, there's something in the antiquities laws that I was reading about the stuff that's really old, like the stuff that's, 500, 1,000, 2,000 years old. There's something in there about transferring it, and that's something about how museums do it, that if there's a partnership, they can transfer it for money. I mean, and, money can be exchanged, but it gets transferred within the partnership. And I'm wondering if, maybe finding it makes you a member of the partnership, and some of these things that are not legally allowed to be sold can be transferred within the partnership. Does that make
interesting? It's possible.
Forrest is one of the partners, right? And the bracelet that's like that sinew bracelet that can't legally be sold by itself unless it's something else or whatever, maybe it could be transferred to another member of the partnership, and the partner that it's transferred to can give you money for it. I know that's possible.
The headdresses and stuff.
I'm wondering if putting you into a partnership allows there to be sales and transfers that maybe are not taxable or are minimally taxable, or if it takes care of any antiquities laws by having you in that partnership. But some people may not want to play that game. They may want to do their own thing, and that's why he says take it home and sit on it.
And Wayne Ross says, I had the same thought. Thanks for bringing it up. Now, can you create a partnership with an unknown person? Can you create a partnership when you don't know who the eventual finder is going to be, would be my question. How do you do that legally?
No, so it's like
you would have to add them to the partnership, and that could take anywhere from, a week to 30 days.
Say that again?
They would have to be added to the partnership, and that could take anywhere from a week to 30 days, depending on how fast it gets processed through the court.
So in other words, Forrest set up this partnership, whatever it is, this legal entity, and basically he's told whoever finds the chest, you add them as a partner when they contact you, that type thing.
Yeah. And if they're added to the partnership, then I think that would set it up for a lot lower taxes or no taxes or just transfer fees or whatever, a way for you to sell back to Forrest or whoever's in the partnership some of the items that legally can't be put up for sale to the public.
Cool. That's actually an interesting thought. Okay.
Yeah,
I give you
that's just my opinion, guys. It's just a thought.
Yeah. Well, now I want to rewatch it. Well, look at his eyes, like you're saying. Did he go up and to the right? What do they say? People are, if they look a certain way when they're telling the truth or when they're being deceiving.
Well, and the reason why I have any thought to this at all is because when I won the Blaine hunt, the attorney that ended up helping me, because this was a prize, it wasn't earned income, I ended up working for him part-time, writing up, cases and demurrers and stuff like that. So I saw a lot of this stuff going through the, in and out of my typewriter.
Well, and Sassy D. Clifton says, I'm a director of a museum, and this is true. I think that was time with what you were saying about the items and all that. So interesting.
Colorado says the antiquities law apply more to when an item was found than about how old an item is. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's the Antiquities Act, and that's different from a whole array of antiquities laws.
Right.
I'm not talking about the Antiquity Act. There's a whole set of laws that go along with, and things that are pre-1740, I think, is the basic overall.
Okay.
There's exceptions and there's caveats as to where the item originated and if it was ever stolen and things like that. But those laws may or may not have to do with the Antiquities Act. They're two different things.
Maybe
So
something from the
looking at the
Battle of
Antiquities
Little
Act
Bighorn.
is probably not going to help you. But when it comes to the transfer and the ownership and selling publicly versus displaying and all of that, that's how museums get away with this stuff,
Well, and somebody asked earlier, what if the finder is not a U.S. citizen and they're from somewhere else?
Oh,
it just gets more and more complicated. It's going to get crazy.
Like Jono.
Yes,
Yeah.
or like
Michael
I don't know
Hull.
if Michael Hull.
He's Canadian, I believe.
Yeah.
He may be
I
U.S.
know.
too, but Canadians.
But what a great problem to have. But like, you couldn't even go and hide it under your bed. You have no bed. Like, what do you hide it under? Like, and you worry. If you're in a hotel, what if someone comes in and takes your stuff because they're allowed to if they're, just kidding.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other issue is when you actually find it, how are you getting it to where you need to get it to? How do you transport it? How do you,
what if the police pull you over?
Right. It's in your trunk. Yeah.
My son is a 6'7" Marine. We have a lot of guns. My ex-husband's 6'6". I don't think anybody's going to mess with me.
All right, Sassy, I got a very important question for you. You ready?
Okay.
What did you think of Chaseopoly? Because we know you got a game when we saw you in Detroit.
Well, it was interesting because I played it with my son and daughter-in-law. And at first, my son was kind of like, what's this? What's this? This is supposed to be this. I said, look, the colors and the places are the same on the board and the prices, as regular Monopoly. So just think of it that way. And then I have to say, you have to explain a lot of private jokes.
Right. They're non-searchers, I take it, yeah. Did you win? Did you win the game? Were you the lead searcher?
I always win Monopoly, so,
Nice.
And they just give up. They get down to 2 or 3 properties, and I've got everything else, and people just give up.
That's
nice. Well, it was nice meeting you up in Detroit, and
we'll have to do that again
time.
sometime next year for sure.
We had a great time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks for coming. That was great.
Okay, talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, and so Richard's bringing up a point is find it first, worry later. But here's the thing. I think some of this and some of what he says could help us narrow down potentially. And and what else do we have to do? It's cold outside. We're not searching right now. There's somebody going searching next week. Shame on you.
I think Forrest is worried that somebody's going to start selling off pieces of the chest just irrationally to pay for their gas. Who knows?
And isn't that a possibility? I mean, if me or you find it, decal, we've got we got pawn shops everywhere here in Vegas. Couldn't we just take a gold coin at a time?
I wouldn't trust that chest to anybody. Something's going to disappear. Even if you lose one gem out of that thing, the value just went down,
Yeah.
It's got to be all documented. It's got to be all intact to stay its full price value. And I think the best way is to hurry and get it back to Forrest Fenn, let him deal with it. And
I had a long debate with my first search partner that said, if we find it, we're going to take all the contents out and put it in Ziploc bags, go back to the car, then come back and get the chest. I'm like, you've lost your mind.
No way.
I'm like, 42 pounds, and you know him, so he was a lot more fit than me. I'm like, I'm not leaving. That's not leaving I'm putting it. It will not leave just no. And we got this huge debate, and I said, fine, you can debate it with me once we find it, but I can tell you, we're not leaving one.
You'd be so fired up, like you wouldn't even feel your back pain. You're gonna.
I would be picking up a bear. I could pick up a bear if I saw that.
Dancing all the way back to the car.
Well, the other thing is the stories. Forrest said the story's significant. I wonder if it ties into the contents. So maybe the story makes you do something with the chest.
So exciting.
We just don't know.
Yeah, there is something to the story. That's interesting. We got to figure out what that story is.
Looking Glass, you're not on ignore. It's true that Forrest says he paid $25,000 for the treasure chest. What is it worth now? I don't know, but that's what Forrest said he paid for it.
I think the treasure chest with all of its contents would go for much higher, and I think there's some people that would really be interested in it. Don't damage the contents by failing to pack them when you hike them out.
Yeah, you don't want to break the olive jar, or you know what I mean? There's breakable things in there.
But you see how packed that thing is? I'd open it up.
You mean you're going to carry it like this in together?
No, you can put it right back in. It doesn't lock, but it has a clasp.
It locks.
And
it locks. The key's inside.
No, the key does not work. Remember that whole conversation?
Oh, okay. I take it back.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I mean, sometimes I'm hiking. I'll take an extra towel with me, or you could probably wrap it in a jacket and keep it from spilling open in your backpack. whoever's, and you just switch off with the backpack if you're
going like a quarter mile. You're going like such a small.
I think it's 2 miles.
Toby, thanks for watching. Toby says he's got to take off. He says congrats on hitting 1K. See you on Wednesday. We hit 1K in 2 months, everybody. I think that's pretty good. Denise Bagley says, I promise my kids, whomever plays Chaseopoly with me the first time, gets to play with real cash when we find Forrest Fenn's treasure chest. Now, there's an idea.
And the coins could be like,
right.
Yeah, so I do absolutely have not a guard. Well, it's here, I can show you, because I actually came across it because that's what I use for all my coins. It's a large Ziploc bag.
Oh, wow.
So that's all you need is like a very large Ziploc bag, and that's what you put it inside your backpack. And so, I mean, what? You guys haven't done this? And I literally put 40 pounds and I walked it a mile, and everybody knows my mile story, so I won't go into it, but that's how I did it. I put it in a Ziploc bag and it has a bunch of
23 Monarcha says the story and the solution are worth more than the chest and the riches in it. Just think about if I find it, I've proved to everybody I find it, and now I'm going to put out a book on the solution. I mean, everybody's going to buy that book, aren't they? To know what the solution is, to know what the area is,
absolutely.
what the clues
especially
meant.
Because there's an extra part to this story.
Yeah.
Wait,
the
Dan
story.
Stagg says, no, the chest and the gold are hidden at separate places. That's
That's not what Forrest has said, but
Forrest said.
Right. And no proxy item either. He said when you find the chest, it's there, everything's there in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Duct tape the chest shut.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we had some great phone calls tonight, and it's great.
Are we shutting down the hotline?
I think we should be shutting down the
hotline.
Right.
We're shutting it down. And
I think close to 50 to 60 for the chest without the treasure, of course. It's the treasure all on its own. I think the book, I think the first picture rights, the story, all of that, I think that's a 7-figure deal. That's just my opinion.
Wow.
So plus whatever you can get from it. So
let's talk marathon. The Forrest Fenn discussion marathon, 12 hours. Tell them, K-Pro.
12 hours. So we're going to start, I think this is all kind of tentative, but it's starting to firm up, 11 to 11 Pacific. So that would be 2 to 2 a.m. and then anywhere in between. So it'll be 2 a.m. my time and then 11 Mike's time. So we are taking slots of 30 minutes and 60 minutes. We will be probably having 2 new clips. But we have right now between 7 and 8 people already interested. Several people are asking, what is this like? What do you mean? Can I be on a panel? If you have a topic in mind, email me, kpro3@aol.com. If you have something in mind, if you don't have something in mind and you just want to be on, we are going to do a competition. And I haven't told Mike this yet, but the winner will get a Chaseopoly.
What? You mean this right here? For anybody that doesn't know, I'm Cowlazars, and this is Chaseopoly, the Thrill the Chase board game. And it sounds like we're giving one away during the marathon. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So we are known to
details forthcoming.
Yeah. So if you have a solution that you want to talk about, if there's something specific you want to talk about, we talked about a ladies panel. There's some people that have specific things that they want to talk about. Just email me. I'll start to firm up dates and times and hours and all of that. We will let you know. Someone said, I can't listen to 12 hours of your guys' talking.
We don't expect you to listen to 12 hours.
Actually, it's our most popular show because people, when they get to work, they'll just put it on and listen to it all day long. It takes them a couple days. So we will have discussions about the upcoming events, World Series of Fenn and Chaseopoly and where to get it and all of that.
And a lot of phone calls, so that should be fun.
Lots of phone calls, lots of things happening. So how do you win? You will, I think how we're kind of deciding between a couple different things, but I think what we'll do is we'll have everybody on, and at the end, the one that brought the most interesting panel or interesting discussion, there'll be a poll up on Thor.
So you're saying out of all the guests that are on the marathon, we'll do some kind of, one of those people will get a free Chaseopoly.
Yeah, we'll do some sort of poll on Thor or something.
So people can vote. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. So I'll figure that out in the next few days. I'm getting things together. So I will say, when in doubt, come on. We have moderators all day long. We do moderate in here. Some people think that's censorship. Nope, that's called not being a jerk, and jerks can go to other channels. And so you are allowed to say something. Somebody said in here, I don't know if the treasure chest is out there. That's okay. Kind of skirted the line with Forrest is a liar and got into, we don't need any name calling. I saw some people talking about people's family. We don't need any of that. And so in general, we just don't keep it personal, and we kind of focus on the Forrest Fenn, and especially we have some good content that I think's rolling out with some new quotes. So we will probably, Mike and I have not discussed which ones we're going to roll out, but we're definitely going to roll out something that we can debate and discuss. So there you have it. So that is all things related to so it's January 11th. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be from 11 to 11 Pacific time.
Brian Gates just said, what about that cipher in Chaseopoly? This cipher right here, this page that's behind me, this scroll, if you will, real quick. I might as well give the hint out now. I was going to do it January 1st. If you guys stuck with us all the way to the end of this video, everybody who got a Chaseopoly should have gotten this scroll. It's a fun little game me and K-Pro came up with. All I will say is the hint on how to solve this is to know where to start, follow the directions that are in the game. All you need is the game, and all you need is that cipher. Once you solve it, you need the internet, you need YouTube. But in order to solve the cipher, read the directions, and that tells you where to start. Okay, go ahead.
Somebody asked, Patricia Liu said, it's his special spot. He doesn't want it ruined. I asked him that question, and you will be surprised at the answer. So that will be something else that we will be sharing. Okay, and then the other is World Series of Fenn. Yes. I don't know, Mike, if you checked your email during this, but we did get confirmation today. So February 15th at 7 p.m.
Oh, yeah, I did see it. Yeah, we are confirmed for the the poker tournament for the World Series of Fenn.
Saturday evening, 7 o'clock. We will be rolling out. I just gave Mike the program. We are going to do Fremont Street on Friday night. Fremont Crawl, Fremont Walk, whatever you want to call it. We will do a lunch somewhere at noon on Saturday, and then we're going to do an escape room at either 2 or 3 o'clock, and then be back for...
The escape room was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
last year.
So if you would like to donate any items, I've had a couple people ask. We are taking items anywhere from an item for the poker tournament or the escape room. And I will say, Mike and I don't make any money off of this. This only costs us money. We will have the poker tournament, but we'll also have some additional items. And so we want you to think of it, out of the 54 people that went last year, I think 50 of them went to some of the different events that we have. So think of it as a weekend. Don't think of it as just one poker tournament. And if you don't play poker, that's okay too. Since it is Valentine's Day weekend, I am looking into a spa day for some of the ladies. So if you are into that, I actually have only done a spa treatment once, and it's fabulous. And so I'm going to look into that, because there's some wives that are coming along with husbands, and maybe they don't want to sit around and have search talk for hours and hours and hours. I can go both ways, no problem. I can chit chat, and I can tell you how great the search is for your relationship, because I'm in a relationship with a searcher. So bring your spouses.
You'll probably mess it all up if you go talking to spouses about this game. Holy crap!
Sounds like, I hope your wife comes.
It's best to change this, to divert their attention away from Forrest Fenn.
No, it's a poker tournament. It's crazy. I didn't even know it was going to be here. We got to play.
Yeah. Let 2 hours with your wife. It's either you're going to get out of the hunt, or you're going to have a new
problem solved.
So we will have some awesome prizes for the poker tournament. Maybe we should do a prize for the escape room, whichever team wins. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, we've got some ideas. But what we really need you guys to do is let us know you're going to be there, because for these things we want to do, we need to reserve spots, whether it's a lunch or a dinner or an escape room or spa for the ladies, whatever it is. We need to know you're coming. So just email K-Pro or myself
And on
let us know.
Thursday, we will have the flyer. We'll put it up. I'll get it up on Thor and all the Facebook pages, and that will tell you exactly. We know everybody's on a different budget. We have given you walking distance rooms anywhere from $60, Motel 6 or Motel 8, all the way up to suites, and people were in all of those in between.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in the suite last year, so I'm sure that'll happen again too.
Yeah, so that flyer will tell you where to be. It'll kind of give you the program. It has some frequently asked questions. Anyway,
but you can meet
crazy.
K-Pro, you can meet me, you can meet Decal, you can meet Copper Dan, you can meet Cynthia. Cynthia's going to be there with her book for sale. We'll be selling Chaseopoly, but I'm sure we're going to give one away in the poker tournament as well. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Who else? I'm trying to think who else is going to be there. Nelica's going to be there.
Nelica's going to be there, Copper Dan. Some new people. Some people have already messaged me. And the reason you want to let me know that you're going to be there is if you get on the list, then we get a small item. It was a poker chip last year, probably be a poker chip this year.
Yeah.
But that's how we let you know. And then
there.
I'll let you know of any updated information. So make sure, and you don't have to tell me your real name. You could be,
use your screen name. You don't have to play in the poker tournament. You can just come and say hi at one of these things we're doing. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Just come by and say hi. It's a place for searchers to get together in person and talk about the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. That's all. So it'll be a lot of fun. And it's 6 weeks away? It's going to be right around the corner. So
yes. So there you have it. That is everything that we have tonight.
Yeah. So Looking Glass says, so it's official. It's in New Mexico. Wow, this spring, New Mexico will be on fire. I don't know. I'm starting to think a little bit more New Mexico, but where do warm waters halt is the question. And we're going to have to do some shows on that for sure.
Yes. So I will say World Series of Fenn, any of the meetups, they have been so much fun. We've had one in Detroit, one in New Mexico, one in
North Carolina,
one in North Carolina,
one in Las Vegas.
So there's so many of them. We don't bring any drama, and there's no drama anyway, but we bring no drama to the poker room and anywhere else. And everybody just has a great time. There's usually somebody at least a few people that will not be quiet about their solve, and they just want to talk. So if you want some search talk, you can get lots and lots of search talk in.
Oh yeah.
And you want to meet Decal's wife? She will be at all the events.
And you want to meet John Wayne Bobbitt?
Yes.
Yeah, we hope she comes, Decal. It'd be a lot of fun to have her do the spa thing with K-Pro.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Bobbitt is a character, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And there'll be lots of new people, and we hope
Other
some people
characters.
from before, and it's always a good time. So the chase will go on and on and on and on and on. You get the idea. No drama. Yeah, the chase will go on. And usually it's not even related to the search stuff that everybody gets all drama filled over. So no, it will be great. And if you have questions, some people asked me last year, there was a couple people that actually wanted to camp. I don't know a lot about it, but I can find out what I can for you.
There's an RV park that's by Samstown, is not that far away, unless they mean actual camp. I'm not sure about that, but RV park, they're definitely
Cynthia's
available.
going to be there, so Cynthia can help me with that kind of information. And I need to get my rooms.
Yeah, we definitely got to get a meeting place for everybody of some kind. We don't know.
I'm not saying my room is the meeting place. We did that, and that was
conference room. I don't know. There's ideas. We got to figure it out. We will. Yeah. Don't worry. What do we say? We make things happen. So, all right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the newest Forrest Fenn clip. Thursday, we're actually going to be talking about the Jingle Bell Rock, I think. So we're going to take a break from Forrest Fenn, but we will be back next Monday with a new clip, I think is the game plan.
Oh, and maybe on Thursday we'll give a couple of different options of clips and then let everyone decide.
Like you did with this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sub-chapter S's, everybody. Look them up. Let's figure out what's going on. All right. Make sure you thumbs up the video. It's important. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you share the video. Let people who are just learning about this thing see some of the Forrest Fenn clips.
And we're going to play the clip on the way out, the last 2 minutes, right? Because that's what we do at the end of every.
Do that.
Thank you, Billy Price. He reminded me.
All right. Hang on. I didn't have that teed up. Here we go.
Well, so talking about when someone does find the treasure, It is there, the chest and the contents are theirs, correct? They will own that treasure.
I said in my poem, I give you title to the gold.
Okay.
But there are a lot of subchapter S's to that rule too. But I don't want to go there.
Okay. What recommendation do you give to the finder? Do you think they should be public? Do you think they should remain anonymous?
I've said several times that if you find that treasure chest, put it under your bed and leave it there for 30 days without doing anything. There's a lot that you need to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of things. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. I spent $5,000 with an attorney researching what happens if it's found on private property, Indian land, government land being Bureau of Reclamation, Corps of Engineers, BLM, National Park Service, Forest Service. There's 20 of those things, and every one of them has a different rule. So it's not that easy, but it's certainly doable. And that's why I say put it under your bed and leave it for 30 days, because you need to think about every one of those things.
Now, when you have thought about that, there has been a lot of media recently of transitions of land from, let's say, BLM to a different type of land. Did you consider that when you worked, so if the treasure's on one type of land and it transitions to a different?
I don't want to go there.
Don't want to go there, okay. So,
but let me make one comment. If you rent a cabin on private property in northern New Mexico, it's sitting out there by itself, you rent it. What are you renting? You're renting a place to sleep. But are you renting the backyard? Are you renting the front yard? Can you use the barbecue pit out there? And if you can use those things, then that's your property, isn't it, for 24 hours?
All right, there it is, everybody.
K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. They want to find the treasure, they want to find it now. They are K-Pro and they are cow. They're going over it and over it and over it again. This treasure hunt created by Forrest Fenn. Sing it! K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. Marion and Indy are what they're like, although their real names are Christy and Mike. Can they pin down the treasure? They just might. Tune in to find out Monday nights. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow. K-Pro Cow Pow Wow Wow. It's the K-Pro Cow Pow Wow.
See you next time.